Here we are, the final round of the MCC Armory videos. Halo 4 was the first title created by 343 Industries, and when it came to crafting this new experience, everything was on the table. Halo had more than a decade of tools to mess around with, and each game was expected to add something to that toolbox. Whether 343 entirely succeeded on that front is for anyone to decide for themselves, but when it comes to the amount of weapons and vehicles in the game, I'd make the argument that 343 delivered. Not just on the weapons themselves, but the lore behind them. Today, we start our dive into that with the Halo 4 UNSC Armory. The Miseria Armory MA5D assault rifle has been in service since at least 2525, seeing limited service throughout the Human Covenant War, though overshadowed by the 5B and 5C models. Not long after the war, the MA5D would become the standard service rifle for the UNSC, finding favor due to its ruggedness and ability to withstand the conditions often found on frontier colonies. The 5D retains the iconic design of its predecessors and fires the same 7.62 by 51mm full metal jacket armor-piercing rounds from a 32 or 36 round box magazine. It also sports the standard integrated ammo counter and digital compass. Beneath its housing is a rail system that can be used to attach various sights and other gear. By 2558, this railing was made even more accessible. The MA5D also has numerous attachment options, some more widely available than others, such as stabilizing jets, a targeting laser, and even a few bayonet options, though none of these are featured in Halo 4. MA5D rifles issued to Spartan personnel feature customized grips and metamaterial film coatings that improve performance in the vacuum of space and corrosive atmospheres. The battle rifle of Halo 4 is the BR-55 heavy-barreled service rifle, a heavy-barreled version of the BR-85 service rifle we see in Halo 5, and the successor to the earlier BR-55 models. Despite the BR-55 still being in prototype phases in early 2525, the BR-85HB saw limited distribution by the end of that year, with a few models present at the Damascus Materials Testing Facility. It saw further distribution, though again limited, in the years to follow, with a few being available to personnel on the UNSC Spirit of Fire in 2531, and some being found on board the UNSC Forward Unto Dawn in 2552. By 2557, it had largely overtaken earlier models, with various BR-85 rifles being available to UNSC personnel. Manufactured by the Miseria Armory, the BR-85 uses 9.5 by 40mm M634 experimental high-powered semi-armor piercing rounds, which are very effective against both human and Covenant targets. Its ammo is fed from a 36 round box magazine, and with its standard 2x magnification scope, it has an effective range of up to 950 meters or 3,117 feet. Though not seen in game, the BR-85HB, like all battle rifle models, features select fire, capable of single shot, burst fire, and fully automatic. Halo 4 brings back the DMR alongside the BR with the Miseria Armory M395 designated marksman rifle. Firing 7.62 by 51mm rounds from a 14 round box magazine, the M395 model seems to be restricted to semi-automatic fire, whereas the M392 model had a full auto setting. The newer DMR is designed to accommodate Spartan operators as well, resulting in it being heavier. Though earlier models like the M392 of Halo Reach were discontinued outside of the UNSC Army, the M395 sees use throughout the branches of the UNSC, its resurgence almost certainly added by the advent of the Spartan 4 program and its recruitment from across service branches, including the Army. The M6H pistol is another of the M6 line of service pistols from the Miseria Armory. Seeing limited use early in the Human Covenant War, it was made the standard issue sidearm of all UNSC personnel by 2555. Firing 12.7 by 40mm M225 semi-armor piercing high explosive rounds from an 8 round detachable box magazine, the M6H has an effective range of 250 meters. Its lethality can be further enhanced by a KFA-2 2x magnification scope, which, like all UNSC scopes, can smart link to a user's HUD. A special upsized variant for Spartan personnel exists as well, 17% larger than the standard issue M6H. By 2558, a variant of the M6H, the M6H2, would see widespread distribution within the UNSC service, featuring a number of variants and available attachments, though this is unseen in Halo 4. The M45 Tactical Shotgun is a Misria Armory produced shotgun that has seen action throughout human conflict. After the end of the Human Covenant War, however, the M45D variant began seeing more widespread use, despite the smaller magazine capacity compared to the M45E, 6 rounds versus 12, or the Smart Link controllable choke of the M45. Its popularity would seem to be due to it being comfortable to fire and easy to control, thanks to an underappreciated magnetorheological recoil dampening system. Later variants of the M45D would include a smart scope and slightly smaller magazine, though this is absent in Halo 4. The M45D is an ideal weapon for boarding actions, breach maneuvers, and urban operations, situations where the range of engagement is limited and over-penetration is not desirable, but maximum stopping power is required. Halo 4 introduces a new variant of the S99 sniper rifle, the SRS-99 Series 5 Anti-Materiel Sniper Rifle. Once again manufactured by Misria, it's basically in line with its predecessors, firing 14.5 by 144mm M232 armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarded Sabo rounds from a 4-round box magazine and equipped with a SmartLink scope capable of up to 10 times magnification. Its effective range is 2,300 meters or 7,546 feet. The Series 5 in particular is designed for use by augmented personnel, featuring a ruggedized frame, robust carrying handle, and standardized accessory rails. A few variants of the Series 5 exist within the UNSC service, though these are not present in Halo 4. Halo 4, like all its predecessors, once again uses the M41 surface-to-surface medium anti-vehicle/assault weapon, aka the Jackhammer or Spanker. There's very little to discuss here that we haven't talked about in previous Armory videos. It typically fires M19 102mm surface-to-surface missiles from its preloaded tubes, which are discarded after use and replaced with a new set of preloaded tubes. The Halo 4 version can lock onto aerial vehicles, just like its Halo Reach predecessor. What is there to say about the weapon/anti-vehicle Model 6 Grindel/Galilean nonlinear rifle, aka the Spartan Laser, at this point? Produced by the Misria Armory, the moniker of Spartan Laser comes from the parallel development of the Mjolnir-Gungnir armor variant. A Series 6971 battery cell replaces the older battery unit in post-war Spartan lasers, though the UNSC still seems to encounter regular logistics issues with shipping the Spartan Laser alongside its charger. Originally only available to Spartan and ODST personnel due to its high production cost, certain advances have reduced that cost, making the weapon more widely available. Now, we come to the first of 343's new weapons. The asymmetric recoilless carbine 920, aka the ARC 920 or Railgun, is a compact channel linear accelerator weapon produced by Acheron Security. A result of scientific breakthroughs during the Human Covenant War, the Railgun uses a pair of parallel conducting rails to accelerate a 16 by 65mm M645 ferric tungsten projectile high explosive round at significant speeds. The Railgun is a single-shot weapon, its M645 round loaded into the gun's internal magazine through a topside well. The projectile has an explosive charge to aid in penetration, though the kinetic energy from the magnetic acceleration already gives it impressive penetration. The speed at which it's fired causes the round to be enveloped by plasma when in flight. Though the weapon lacks a scope, some versions do feature the smart scope capability, though this is absent in Halo 4. The ARC 920 is one of the few electromagnetic launchers within the UNSC service, and considered the best among them. Next we have the Misria Armory M739 light machine gun, often called the SAW, short for Squad Automatic Weapon. SAWs saw increased use in the 22nd century during the first major colonial conflicts, and continued to find regular use within the UNSC. The M739 was introduced during the later years of the insurrection, continuing service throughout the Human Covenant War, and now beyond. It fires 7.62 by 51mm full metal jacket rounds from a 72-round drum magazine at fairly impressive range, especially if used in burst fire. Some variants have a smart scope, and the M739 can deploy with certain enhancements, such as increased magazine sizes, stabilizing jets, or high explosive rounds, though none of this is present in Halo 4. The Sticky Detonator is a weapon synonymous with Halo 4, being the first new weapon we saw when the game was announced. Created by the parents of Saskia and Nazari for Chalb's Defense Solutions in 2548, The weapon's manufacturing rights would change hands by the end of the Human Covenant War, now produced by Acheron Security. Formerly designated as the M363 Remote Projectile Detonator, the sticky detonator fires a 12cm M9030 high explosive incendiary remote detonated projectile. It will magnetically clamp onto whatever it lands on, detonating after a period of time, unless remotely detonated by the user. Once the M9030 projectile is armed, a fold-out screen on the weapon's body shows a motion tracker display, allowing a user to deploy the remote projectile and wait for an enemy to approach before detonating it. The target designator returns from Halo Reach, though in a more limited capacity in terms of gameplay. Halo 4 features the Misria Armory H295 Forward Observation Module, a secure linked module that can be used to designate targets for close fire support. The fire can come in a variety of forms, depending on the nature of the mission. The Misria Armory M247H heavy machine gun is the machine gun for Halo 4, firing 12.7mm high-velocity explosive rounds at a rate of 600 rounds per minute. From its tripod mount, it can be quite effective at medium to long range, capable of taking out infantry and light vehicles with relative ease. Sustained fire will overheat the barrel, so operators are encouraged to monitor its use. Its lightweight and ease of use make it easy to deploy and a common sight at most UNSC bases and high-priority sites. Reports indicate that personnel will occasionally fire the M274H from the hip to pursue enemies beyond its effective range, though these reports remain unsubstantiated, never mind that they need to be performed by a Spartan for it to be effective at all. The M11 combat knife is a unique weapon in the Halo 4 Armory, as it's not a weapon the player can pick up and use at their discretion, only appearing during assassination kills. The M11 is designed and built for Spartans and has been manufactured by the Watershed division of Oni since 2551. Constructed with hyper-dense metal alloys, it's nearly unbreakable and in the hands of a Spartan, capable of instantly breaking through energy shields and hardened armor, be that the nano-laminate plating of elite harnesses or the titanium of Mjolnir armor. It can even penetrate the hull of some ships, such as a Covenant Lich. In Gen 2 Mjolnir, the combat knife is typically kept in a compartment in the Spartan's Vambrace. And closing out the weapons as usual, we have the M9 high-explosive dual-purpose grenade from the Misria Armory. Despite 500 years of technological advancement, little has changed with the function and design for fragmentation grenades. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The post-war M9 is slightly larger than its earlier version, with a length of 14.8 centimeters versus 9.5 of earlier models, and comes in upsized variants for Spartans. It has a kill radius of 5 meters, or 16 feet, and a casualty radius of 15 meters, or 49 feet. And that brings us to Halo 4's vehicle offerings, starting with the humble M274R ultralight all-terrain vehicle, aka the Mongoose. Manufactured by AMG Transport Dynamics, little has changed for the Recon Mongoose since its days in the Human Covenant War. Its 1000cc liquid-cooled, mid-engine mounted 4-stroke hydrogen-injected ICE can allow the vehicle to achieve a maximum speed of 95 km per hour or 59 miles per hour. It can even achieve significant speed when carrying the weight of 2 Mjolnir-clad Spartans thanks to its heavy suspension. Though it is not recommended as a combat vehicle, its small profile makes it a difficult target, and it has seen some use in anti-tank and raiding operations. Halo 4 would see the redesign of several aspects of Halo, a result of a new studio being in charge, but also representing the advances in technology after the Human Covenant War. Halo 4 introduces the AMG Transport Dynamics M12B Force Application Vehicle, aka the Warthog. The M12B variant seems to have entered service late in the Human Covenant War, becoming more popular after the war ended. The UNSC Forward Unto Dawn carried a select number of the 2544 model when it deployed for the ARC in 2552. The UNSC would carry the slightly newer 2557 models during its campaigns on Requiem. Like the earlier M12 Warthog, the M12B has a 12.0L liquid-cooled, hydrogen-injected ICE and is capable of speeds up to 125 km per hour or 78 miles per hour, and is protected by a ballistic polycarbonate titanium carbon nanotube hull and features similar variants to its M12 cousin. Notable differences include the addition of an S-LED searchlight, utility bars on the hood and around the bed, and typically deploying with 4 jerry cans attached to the rear which can be filled with water to be rendered into hydrogen for the engine. In Halo 4, the Warthog comes in 3 variants. The first is the old reliable chain gun hog, the M12 LRV, which features an M46 light anti-aircraft gun, an upgrade to the M41 from previous models. This Vulcan, as it's often called, fires 12.7 by 99mm M255 high-velocity explosive rounds from an electronic belt feed. The M46 features a newer cooling system and larger gas chamber, upgrades from the old M41. We next have the Gauss Hog, the M12 G1 light anti-armor vehicle, a Warthog equipped with a powerful M68 asynchronous linear induction motor. More commonly referred to as a Gauss cannon, named for the 19th century physicist Carl Friedrich Gauss, the M68 fires 25 by 130mm projectiles at speeds just under Mach 40, resulting in significant stopping and penetration power. Though intended for anti-armor operations and having a notably slow firing speed, its pinpoint accuracy makes it nevertheless lethal against infantry. Specialized Gauss Hogs are often used by the Office of Naval Intelligence, or ONI, which were developed and tested during the Requiem campaign, though this isn't seen in Halo 4 or Spartan Ops. And finally, we have the M12R light anti-aircraft vehicle, aka the Rocket Hog, a Warthog equipped with an M79 multiple launch rocket system. Capable of locking onto aircraft, the M79 fires 6 65mm M4510 ASGM-2 Argent V missiles per salvo. Though intended for anti-aircraft operations, the rockets are still quite effective against ground vehicles, though the M79 cannot achieve target lock on them. The Warthog is a versatile vehicle, coming in a variety of forms to fit any operation, its sturdy frame having ensured it remained in service for over 200 years. Originally manufactured by Chaleb's Defense Solutions, the fall of Meridian in 2551 resulted in the destruction of many of Chaleb's facilities and the eventual loss of many manufacturing contracts, including that of the M808 Scorpion. By 2557, the M808C main battle tank that had long served the UNSC was now being produced by Acheron Security. Little about the Scorpion's design and operation would change once Acheron got their hands on the manufacturing rights, however. The Scorpion is powered by a hydrogen-burning turbine located on the back of the hull and easily removable and replaceable in the field, and protected by ceramic titanium armor. This armor makes it resilient to even Covenant plasma. Its main weapon is an M512 smooth-bore high-velocity cannon that fires 90mm tungsten rounds. This cannon is operated by the Scorpion's driver, aided by the standard UNSC neural interface. The Scorpion also features an M247T medium machine gun that can be operated by a gunner. Additionally, infantry can ride atop the treads to provide additional fire support. M808C Scorpions are not typically equipped with a coaxial machine gun like the M808B, but they can be on occasion. We next come to Halo's own Metal Gear, the Runting Yggdrasil Mark IX Armor Defense System, more commonly referred to as the Mantis. A powered exoskeleton, this single-operator vehicle is equipped with an M655 20mm machine gun on one side and an M5920 surface-to-ground missile launcher on the other. These are connected to its main body, which sits atop two spindly legs and a tiny thorax-like mount, giving it a slight semblance to its namesake. However, the Mantis's name seems to come from action during the Battle of Meridian between 2548 and 2551. A prototype of the Mantis was deployed for an action known as the Cherbourg Run, during which it successfully engaged 18 heavily defended Type 27 Mantis anti-aircraft cannons. The Mantis would only see widespread use after the end of the Human Covenant War. Its development is an interesting tale born of two parallel projects, Project Runting and Project Yggdrasil. Project Runting took the older Mark III exoskeleton that preceded Mjolnir, eventually developing the Runting Mark III exoskeleton, aka the Cyclops. They eventually began to work with Project Yggdrasil, resulting in the Mark I armor defense system. This prototype and its data were destroyed during the Battle of Algolis, but the project would continue in the years to follow. A D variant of the Runting Yggdrasil Mark II, which heavily resembles the Mantis, would seem to have been the basis for the eventual Mark IX ADS. In addition to its offensive weaponry, the Mantis is equipped with energy shields and is manufactured by the Materials Group. While several variants exist, they are not present in Halo 4. The mobile anti-aircraft weapon platform M510 Siegework / Alter Heavy, aka the Mammoth, is a heavy vehicle manufactured by Acheron Security. Dwarfing even the Elephant HRV in size, this mobile command and assault platform can transport up to 30 passengers, several smaller vehicles like Warthogs and Mongooses, and carries a variety of weapons and equipment depending on mission needs. Introduced in 2553, the Mammoth can fulfill a handful of roles such as anti-aircraft, anti-armor, and anti-warship operations. During the Battle of Requiem, a Mammoth was equipped with 2 M79 rocket launchers for defense and a Mark 24 57/35mm HRG Mini-Mac. This Mini-Mac could be linked to a target designator to identify and eliminate targets. The F41 Exo-Atmospheric Multi-Role Strike Fighter, aka the Broadsword, is a VTOL atmospheric exo-atmospheric fighter manufactured by the UNSC Armory. Used by expeditionary and planetary defense forces, the Broadsword was introduced in 2535, making it a relatively recent addition to the UNSC Armory. In 2554, the F41E was rolled out, featuring an upgrade package that included energy shield technology derived from the Sabre program. It also included reformulated titanium A panels, an upgraded fusion reactor, and an advanced target designation and tracking suite. The F41E is equipped with 2 M1075 ASW/AC 35mm machine-linked autocannons and a pair of M6088 ST/Medusa missile pods. A Class 3 hardpoint is also present, typically designed to carry AAM-50XR dogfight missiles or an AGM-79C anti-ship missile, but can also be used to carry a Havoc nuclear warhead. Together, these have afforded the F41 great effectiveness in the destruction of enemy capital ships. Like most UNSC vehicles, the Broadsword's cockpit comes equipped with a full Cyberlink interface for augmented personnel. It also features inertial compensators to mitigate the effects of high-G maneuvers. And closing out the UNSC's vehicles is the Pelican, which comes in 2 varieties in Halo 4. First up is the dropship 79 Heavy troop carrier, the latest model in the Pelican line. Though the D79 saw limited use as early as 2526, it was not nearly as cost-effective as the D77 that would be the UNSC standard for much of the Human Covenant War. Following its end, the D78 saw a brief period of prominence before the more advanced D79 finally took over. Featuring a twin bubble canopy in contrast to other Pelican models, the D79 found favor thanks to its increased hull armor and more powerful engines. Like its predecessor, the D79 Pelican can hold up to 20 personnel in its troop bay, along with extra equipment and weapons. Its rear overhang can carry vehicles of various tonnage and weapon pods if needed. The D79 is typically equipped with 2 GAU-53 70mm MBHRC autocannons and features 6 weapon hardpoints along its wings. After that, we have the Gunship 79 Heavy Troop Carrier/Mobile Armory, aka the Pelican Gunship. It differs little from the standard D79 in its overall appearance, the G79 designation simply a formalization of various impromptu modifications made to the base Pelican over the course of the Human Covenant War. The nose features 1 GAU-53 70mm autocannon rather than the standard 2 for the D79 Pelicans, but adds an M8C Grindel-Galilean nonlinear cannon. In addition, the G79 sports 2 M410 dual heavy machine guns on its sides, and an M369 90mm SB HVC-DM dorsal gun turret, though the latter seems to be more of a rare addition rather than a standard. The gunship also acts as a mobile armory, featuring a weapon rack along its sides. Also unlike the standard D79, the Pelican gunship's cockpit appears to be completely separated from the troop bay. And closing out the UNSC Armory as a whole will be a few items that you might overlook during a playthrough of Halo 4. First up are the Mark 2551/25cm portable magnetic accelerator cannons, also known as an Oniger. An upgrade of UNSC Armory's 2488 model from Halo Reach, the 2551 Oniger fires 25cm ferric tungsten depleted uranium rounds at hypersonic speeds. The UNSC Infinity features a number of Onigers along its dorsal hull, and Ivanov Station had a number of them in place to defend itself against potential attackers. The M79 Guided Missile Weapon System, aka the M79 Lance, is a UNSC Armory anti-ship missile launcher. Firing M4510 85mm ASGM-7 missiles, the M79 is optimized for atmospheric and exo-atmospheric operations, often installed on the hulls of starships and space stations. The M85 anti-aircraft gun, or scythe, is very similar to the M79 in that it's an upgrade of a previously seen technology, optimized for in- and exo-atmospheric operations, and often fitted along ship hulls for defense. Finally, we have the M3063 automated heavy machine gun / self-tracking, a UNSC Armory deployable turret. Used by UNSC Defense Forces for automated anti-personnel work, the weapon features a laser to aid in targeting and fires 12.7 by 99mm M340 high-velocity explosive rounds. It also sports an energy weapon capable of firing a targeted electromagnetic pulse. Frequently used in Spartan 4 wargames training, the turret also saw use during the Second Requiem campaign in February of 2558. And that wraps up the UNSC Armory for Halo 4. There are certainly some other technologies we could touch upon, but you can see at the end there that I was kind of reaching for information. Halo 4 really expanded the UNSC's Armory, both in campaign and multiplayer, including guns and vehicles from games before and introducing several new ones. So what's your favorite addition to the UNSC arsenal in Halo 4? My personal favorite is probably the railgun, but let me know yours in the comments below. That's all for today, and until next time, this has been Halo Canon. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing, and if you really love me, hit that notification bell and leave a thumbs up. These both really help out the channel. I wouldn't be where I am now without your views and support, so once again, thank you. Keep on being awesome, Canonites.